top lane for
We
Khan.
could see this actually locked in here. It's a dog champ for sure, but there was a Nasus. It's locked in. Okay, we see this.
All right, here we are. Fnatic versus Longzhu. The Nasus pick mixing everything up. An exciting moment here for the team. Of course, if you haven't already, folks, there is now a chance you can head over to the store. If you want to participate in Worlds 2017, check out the Championship Ash skin. 25% of the proceeds from Championship Ash and Ward skins are being added to the prize pool, with another 25% being donated to charity. And of course, there's the Chroma as well. We've only seen it once. I thought maybe Prey would play the Ash this game, but instead he's on the Varus, and we're seeing already some attention on the top side.
Talked a lot about Khan, who is caught up here, but probably not going to be enough damage to take him down.
A lot of early poke. Clearly Fnatic are aware that this Nasus could be a problem if they let it go unscathed through the early game.
They know he's going to be recalling, so they could get deep vision if they want, and certainly the saplings will do that. Longzhu backing away from their top side, but I wanted to mention Khan, because I think last year we came in, high expectations on Smeb. People were waiting, when are we going to see the carries? When are we going to see something different? Smeb played Trundle, Smeb played Standard. We see 2 games of Jarvan on the side of Longzhu. This time the Nasus available, but I have to hold the point.
Number 1. Dark Sphere's gonna check. Multiple members there. That's the body slam into the immediate flash out. Caps gonna be down the summoner spell alongside Broxa.
Exactly, 2 members. I think Fnatic a little bit baited because no one seemed to take damage from that Q from Caps. Everyone stepped out from Longzhu and then right back in.
I actually think it's a pretty poor level 1 decision, because if you consider Fnatic knew that Longzhu had vacated their top side, it's safer to invade a part of the jungle you know the enemy is not on, and re-invading bot side is a risk that was unnecessary, I would say, for Fnatic. They could have taken the long route to bot lane and ignored it. Instead, they get caught.
To make it even worse here, Caps could not go back to base. No TP on him, so he's down a lot of HP early on. Will have to use both his potions as well to just get full HP in this lane. And we know that BDD is just here to farm in the early game and then get that level 6 on Galio. And suddenly, if you want to play this game where you're trying to shut down the Nasus, Galio can join in and help.
Difficult place as well, with both flashes burned. It's going to be so much more difficult. Caps and Broxa, so frequently the members we talk about on the side of Fnatic, now both flashless, both significantly less able to be proactive here in the early game.
Forever 8 winners, when they did play Nasus Galio versus Maokai, stacked the CDR, it was Trinity Force early, just a carry, more of the carry build you see in solo queue, and turret dives were real. Galio is insurance on the top and on the bot, which is big for Longzhu.
But now, of course, one thing we have to highlight is when you look at this matchup, most recently against IMT for Longzhu, their bot lane did suffer. Their bot lane did fall behind, and we have to wonder, is this an avenue for Fnatic to exploit?
I mean, we know Fnatic wants to get the bot lane ahead. We saw when Fnatic played against Immortals, they hard camped the lane. It worked, as you said just before, in the first day of Worlds, where Gorilla died multiple times in lane. The same thing probably needs to happen for Fnatic to succeed early on. You don't want to try and feed your own Maokai. You need to get Reckless going on this Tristana. That's why they draft for Khan, to also have some CC setup.
But the window is small, because the moment that Galio gets ultimate, the headaches start to grow. Sure, it is not Alistair to repel those early ganks, but Janna can do a bit of peeling, even at level 2. Once Galio gets to level 6, he will also have disengage. So it's not necessarily a hard timer, but to try to recreate with this comp, you need to get going soon.
Yeah, and you also kind of want that level 6 on Broxa. Meanwhile, Gorilla and Prey, probably knowing the game plan from Fnatic is play around bot side with the draft, with how Fnatic has played in the past. And their job is just to stay alive and don't actually try anything risky. And it's one thing these guys are very known for, at least avoiding, you know, the ganks.
And you think back to the Varus over the Twitch that was available. If you draft Varus, he can always do something. If he needs to push, put more points into Q. Hell, E is even decent in that situation as well. He's the much stronger laner, and if you're looking to leave someone on an island, Twitch with Relic Shield, that's risky. A Varus, he's certainly someone that can make the best, even if the game is not going to be about bot side early for Longzhu Gaming.
Terrifying champion to try to dive out, try to pressure, especially once he hits that level 6 mark as well. So just continuing to build on to that point we made earlier about this being a very small window for Fnatic to exploit. If they want to find this lead in the early game, it has to be quite early. But for now, they may have the vision on the bottom side, but not a whole lot else. Even the pressure is starting to balance out as the wave bounces against the bot lane tower.
There's another thing I want to mention about Nasus, but I'm just waiting to see if Cuz is doing anything. No, he's stepping away. There was a buff that happened to Nasus quite some patches ago where he's E also started reducing 15% armor when he used it on targets. And if you look at Longzhu's composition, the majority of the damage is going to be physical coming in, obviously because of Nasus himself being able to smack around with the Q, and reducing that armor here on some of these big tanks on Fnatic is actually very effective and very important in the late game.
Yeah, the Spiritfire used to be flat armor and MR. Now it being percentage means it scales into the late game, and we wondered who the second threat would be, expecting Galio mid. The Nasus infinite scaling certainly does fit the bill, even though his kiteability is always going to be something to keep a track of.
It's just a little nerve-wracking. So often we see teams put themselves in a position where they're playing against a clock.
We might get the first gank in that bot lane here. Praying Gorilla are pushed pretty far up, but playing it safe right there, reading the situation correctly.
Yeah, 2 question mark pings around the bot side was enough early information, I assume, from BDD after seeing him pass through mid lane to stave off that particular start. Prox is spotted.
BDD knows what's up. Just gonna back right out. Taking it forward here. Moving on as Broxa goes back to the top side of the map. He is going to walk face first into Cuz, but Cuz already getting what he wants out of the exchange.
Watching Soaz come down. Nasus so far just free farm first item purchase already. 10% CDR on the Sheen, so he's happy there. As
oh,
Cuz might be caught. Level 4.
Not exactly where he wanted to be. Luckily for him, it is just the Maokai. All the burst damage used up. Soaz not looking to commit the ultimate. Knows it might be more important for this laning phase. A lot of things to consider here. But Cat Champ versus Dog Champ, top side of the lane. Not the most exciting matchup. Once again, waiting for the infinite scaling, and this is the thing that scares me. If you're playing against Longzhu, and their game plan is to sit here and wait, all of the pressure is on Fnatic to do something, because eventually, as you mentioned earlier, Nasus is going to be unstoppable.
Even that phrase you utter is surreal to someone who cast the LCK, because Longzhu were on the faster ebb of gameplay. They were not SKT, they were not Sampler, they did not focus on the outscale. They focused on their early to mid-game shot calling, their understanding of win conditions, which largely were precipitated around getting big leads. And usually you see the first 4 champions, not including the Nasus, and you think that's what this draft is about. They flip it on its head. They're playing a different type of meta at Worlds, but they are going to be comfortable as the game goes on.
Kana already sitting on about 100 stacks in the early game. He's not really been under any pressure. We'll just keep farming up in that top lane.
Now, though, as we move a little bit further into the game, level 7 for Caps, he doesn't have pressure here. Not a whole lot of kill threat onto the Galio without some help. Maybe he can find the opportunity to roam, however. Flash is now back up, much easier for him to play out the rest of this laning phase. Cuz taking his time, both junglers approaching level 6. This could be the catalyst, the point for playmaking.
It's just so important that Cuz is always moving in, placing a few deep wards, so he's finding Broxa, he's able to see if Caps is roaming as well. And again, it just means Prey and Gorilla are going to be so safe in that bot lane. You can see how Fnatic are always hovering around the bot lane, but they simply cannot get down there unspotted.
That means extra time, that means Nasus getting access to minions. He is ahead in CS compared to the Maokai. It's only good things for Longzhu. The pace of the game is slowed. We already see a couple of early trades onto Soaz. It's not going to be a Galio coming in this time, but soon that game plan may be enacted.
And of course, Sheen, a nice early item purchase, lifesteal from Nasus as well, means it's pretty easy for him to sustain up in this lane. May not have the kill threat, but Cousin Prey could. That's the level 6. Chain's not going to connect. Rare misstep from Prey on that one.
Warning shot. Telling Jesse what's going to happen next time he's overextending in the bottom lane.
And now, Longzhu just going to take advantage of any pressure they got on the bottom side, but it's immediately removed with the ultimate gone. It's so much easier for Reckless and Jesus to play further up. No fear of a counter-engage.
A sedate game with Longzhu involved. Not what I expected here, and I know when I was saying for the hopes for this game pre-tournament, I wanted to see late-game fights between Reckless and Prey, 2 of those top-tier mechanical AD carries. And at this pace, we may very well get it.
Definitely the case. Right now, it feels like Prey has kick-started himself with the option to go for a more, gold-efficient starting item, at least in terms of gold production.
I'm just afraid that when we are setting up for the big late-game AD carry fights, Khan just kind of takes over on his like 5 million stacks Nasus, one-shotting Reckless or Caps in one of these fights, because once again, it's a very slow game in favor of Longzhu. BDD's not been able to use his ulti because why? He's just saving it. He literally just wants to be defensive at the moment, and it's all he needs to do.
Well, at this point, we have to start asking some of the big questions, which is, for example, how many stacks have you guys seen Nasus hit in the game? Because we could get to some big numbers here. We're at 160
Are we
already.
talking about solo queue or competitive? Because you mentioned an Ever 8 game, there was a Dignitas game for someday. There's not a whole lot of a sample size to go on here.
I'm going with either.
I mean, I have quite a famous Nasus myself when I'm playing.
Oh, really?
I'm only last hitting with E, however, because I don't want to get too strong in the game.
See, it's the deliberate training weights. You got to hold yourself back. Well, even if Khan decides to play that way, luckily for Longzhu, he still has the Wither, which I feel like is such an undervalued tool against one reliable late game damage threat.
I mean, just consider the situation. You get Withered, you're against Gragas, Galio, and also the Varus. Do you use some Cruel Scimitar on him? Because that's what's going to be the reality. Choosing your CC, you might have to see a Rakan go very early Mikhails purely to actually increase his damage.
But still, not a lot of catalysts for action. We thought the bot lane might be posed for it. Of course, Prey does have the tools to force engages. Once again, it's just not in the Longzhu playbook right now to force anything aggressive because it's just not needed.
And with that Scimitar, that might happen in the late game. Problem is obviously with Khan getting some cooldown reduction, the fact that his own cooldown on this W is so short, it's going to be like, what, 10 seconds?
Maybe less.
Maybe even less. So when Regis will have that small window where he uses his QSS to get some damage up, he needs to burn through tanks. It is super difficult unless Fnatic, and it's why we keep highlighting getting bot lane ahead. But right now, Prey is sitting with the same CS as Reckless. No tower's even taken some real damage just yet. And it's just meaning we're kind of waiting for the big moment where Fnatic pulls the trigger.
Guys, we waited for day 4. We want what is the
might
counter?
Might be now.
Sensor. Yep, hold the point.
Also going to go wide because flashing out. He's not a damage drops, but just tickling him. Bit of a fumble there from Broxa. Not going to be what Fnatic wanted. And now Caps out of mana. VDD is going to have lane priority.
Push up, VDD. Happy to take these good trades. Force Caps behind. Extend the game further every time. You get that click over to Nasus. See the number increasing. The timer only gets more severe.
Khan just perpetually comfortable in this lane. Luckily for Fnatic, they do have lane pressure. Soaz is able to push the Nasus out, but for how much longer? How much longer until the Nasus actually has kill threat on the Maokai, especially with the Storm Raiders? It's going to be an easy chase down. So
now that Fnatic are unable to stop the Nasus, they can't really gank bot. Maybe they should switch around the focus. I like what Caps is doing now in trying to go up and see if he can kill Khan. Other thing you can do is you can try and lane swap with your dual lane. Send him top. Let's see what happens here.
PC, ultimate's going to come out. Not a lot of mana in the pool for Khan. Is still alive. Caps playing with fire here. Second he hits him, he's going to draw that tower aggro. So has not a lot of health. Just going to clear the wave. TP is going to be used as Longzhu take the bottom tower. Solid play from Longzhu, and Fnatic not getting anything.
Yeah, I think Fnatic early on in this game here should have, when they had a push in the bot lane, recalled, swapped to top lane, and try and just rush down that turret here. Open up this map a little bit so Khan is not feeling so safe.
But so much happened in an instant there for Longzhu. It was as the rest of Fnatic were backing that play happened. They took bot lane turret. We cancel his teleport in the blink of an eye. Nasus lives, they get bot lane turret. They're going to take a Drake as well, and nothing happens to the Nasus. He teleports back in with a completed Trinity Force.
And it is difficult right now to be Fnatic because making that lane swap call is not easy. You feel like you're getting pushed in the bot lane, and if you don't get a good swap and get actually the tempo advantage where you take down the first tower first, it doesn't feel great for most teams. So it's not an easy situation to be in, and they are constantly looking for that potential gank, but the good vision control just stops them.
And it's not an easy situation for any team, but it's especially concerning for Fnatic because when you look at their most recent game, we know what happens when they fall in a deficit. And we know the struggles they can have when they're not confidently ahead. You can see the difference between how these teams stacked up against Immortals. Longzhu, clean win coming out once they got that lead. Fnatic, a much shakier road.
We will get to see now, though, Longzhu's dual lane going towards that top side. So it is Longzhu initiating their own lane swap. Khan is going to get removed from the 1v1, at least for a moment. His Trinity Force is completed. Fnatic want to find a way to try and get down a tower.
I mean, at this point, putting Varus and Janna in a short lane, just like they have been the entire game in bot, is absolutely fine. You cannot slow down Nasus. That ship has already sailed 137 CS at 14 minutes, basically at pace with everyone else. So might as well start setting up the Varus to hit his mid-game spike. The on-hit build with the Sensor and the Rage Blade certainly more than underway, but Soaz is here looking for a lane game.
Yeah, Lola trap he's setting up. Brox is gonna get spotted in the river going towards topside, so Longzhu will be aware that something is happening up here. Once again, Broxa notice on the ward. There's another one coming up here.
Important to keep your eyes on Galio as well. For now, BDD is locked in the mid lane, clearing out the wave. It's not a long walk, though. This could be the setup that Fnatic need, but it's a small window. They need to take advantage of it. A little bit more as the tornado comes out. One's going to pull the trigger. Looks like just the tower in their sights. Can't agree making it easy. Tristan is still able to siege, but the cast going to clear the way. Broxa not going to get locked up, but Jez as well. Reckless could be next, has to rocket jump to safety, and Fnatic still not getting anything.
But again, it's because it's taken them so long to initiate this swap here in the game. Once they couldn't find the kills in bot lane, they had to do it earlier to try and get down a tower, to try and speed up the tempo, because now they're just losing towers in the bottom lane.
Terrifying to watch too. Nasus over 300 stacks at this point in the game, only 15 minutes in. Khan is a farming machine. Something you have to respect, because this matchup no longer quite one-sided, but Brox's season opportunity. Prey has been locked up. A nice monsoon gonna stop it. No further aggression comes in. Fnatic once again denied.
Give a cookie over to Khan as well for that body slam onto Jez, is denying his entrance into the fight. Khan and Nasus fighting down here, but everyone steps away.
How do you beat the tank meta? First answer from Europe, it was Trundle. The Nasus doing the same thing. He's been pushing and ignoring Maokai's damage. Media damage.
Jez is going to get out with his life, right? Taking a lot back from the tower and no mana left. Broxa doing what he can, but the Blast Cone just keeps Longzhu out and into safety. Fnatic are trying to get something, but they're not getting anything in any one of these exchanges.
It's exactly the game plan from Longzhu. It must be so frustrating to be on Fnatic and at the last pick realize that the timer you are on is not what you expected. The Galio-Nasus duo, only seen once in a game that not many watched, is working a treat. Wasn't quite able to take down the inhibitor turret bot lane. Has it low. Speaking of top lane standing gold, Fnatic have to keep giving away free objectives.
And it's just important to highlight that Khan himself is just farming. He's not actually like outplaying anyone or doing a whole lot. It's just the rest of Longzhu on the bottom side of the map, just like we've seen in the LCK multiple times, with defensive vision, by playing smart or avoiding any potential plays from Fnatic. And that's kind of why the game was so slow early, and there was never really an easy opening to take. Most teams around the world will always make a mistake here and there and give you at least a chance to force a fight on them. Barely been possible in this game.
Difficult road for Fnatic. They need to find an opportunity to come back. You can see Soaz and Caps grouping up. Maybe they're hoping to find a pick. They've certainly got enough CC. But Ward will just catch them on the side before they begin. Cats come out. Looking for a little bit of lock, but the tower is low, but there's not a creep wave there. They have to commit to the dive. They wanted Cats is committing, but not the way that he wanted to. Jez is trying to make his way out. Galio coming in as well. Cuz on the 100 blood, but here comes Nasus. There's the withered half held. My God, the siphoning strike reduced cooldown as well. Cuz retreating. Nasus finding the first kill, the latest first blood thus far. Prey taking down Caps as well. Longzhu cutting through Fnatic.
And the difference with this side lane champion into tanks league actually provides burst damage in a fight. Every Q will proc siphoning strike just like an early game jungle Ezreal. Nothing Fnatic can do. Reckless half health and withered. One of the worst feelings ever. Give him Ardent Sensor, give him other items. After the wither comes through, he's not going to have the damage to do anything.
Such a good counter pick in this game here from Longzhu's side. They saw this draft from Fnatic, they saw the different tanks, they saw the Tristana, who is so focused on her auto-attacking, and then they have this Nasus ready, who we know in the late game is just even better than in the past.
And we have to remember, we're introducing Khan to a lot of the viewers at home. This is the guy who wanted a counter pick to the Renekton that was dominating the early game and the early part of summer season. He locked in Mordekaiser straight up and took him into lane. This guy always has the mad scientist view of what takes down. He always wants lane priority. He's had no issues in the side lane, and we get to see him in a fight. Very nice chain of corruption, and also cast from Cuz.
Yeah, exactly. This striker performance from Cuz here is very, very good to just once again make it hard for Fnatic to start the fights. At this point though, as soon as they didn't actually get the first kill, all these different tanks are just gonna run you down.
And Reckless talked so much about his matchup versus Prey, what it would mean for him to beat Prey. But he doesn't get to fight Prey, he has to fight Khan, and Khan beats 80 carries. This is so solid for the Nasus.
It beats some
tanks too! Oh, that's gotta hurt for Soaz. Another kill dropping for the Nasus, but a fight is breaking out in the mid lane. Longzhu stalling out Fnatic once again.
Right now we're on 430 stacks for Khan on this Nasus, so not even 20 minutes into the game and we're plus 400.
And just be clear, he can't enter lane. I mean, I say Soaz cannot enter lane against the Maokai. Permanent wither, the CDR is mostly getting up there, at least 20%. from the Trinity Force. Takes him down. Percentage shred on the siphoning strike. Fires everywhere on the map, but they also still have that Galio ult up. They haven't needed to use it much.
Backing off, Caps getting caught out. Even the tanks around have enough damage to take down the Syndra. Wins the war. Ticking. Prey actually going to grab that one. Longzhu are just playing with their food. 7K gold lead, 20 minutes into the game. Nothing for Fnatic, on the verge of getting perfect game.
And that's the really worrying thing to say. 3-0 into a perfect game.
Soaz
is already dead.
Chains of Corruption landing for Prey. He may have missed one, but every other one has connected thus far. We can see the 1v1 replay in the picture-in-picture. Important to remember how we got here, because that is a Rift Herald in the middle of Fnatic's base at 20 minutes. Khan can cut through these towers in an instant. Fnatic are out of options. They've got one last chance, one opportunity to try to seize a fight, but there is nothing in their wheelhouse. There is nothing in the toolkit. All they see is Nasus in front of them. This game is the story of Khan farming it up and bringing it home.
And we get to see a dancing Rift Herald in professional play. It only dances if it takes down the Nexus, and bringing in the Nasus was the masterstroke, because the game was played around and all Fnatic could do is watch Longzhu in awe.
We talked about how good Longzhu were, how dominant they could be. The shortest game of Worlds thus far, the dancing Rift Herald encapsulating everything that was this game, because to me it felt like Fnatic didn't even get to play League of Legends. Longzhu were just one step ahead at every turn.
Exactly, like they tried to draft the Rakan to have some sort of engage in the bottom lane, but Cuz always went in, deported the enemy jungle, Prey and Gorilla played safe, and meanwhile Khan was just farming in the top lane.
And the Nasus mains out there are nodding their head at picks and bans, because guess what? The Janna was taken early, very early, by Longzhu, have not prioritized it, and Janna shuts down Nasus in every single way. Melee damage champions cannot team fight against a Janna. There was no Janna for them to claim.
And also the Galio pick, it wasn't banned away.